I told myself I wouldn't do one more, but I don't want to end on a depressing note to myself because the best part about being a cynic, and I told my mom this earlier, is when I'm a cynic, I'm not, and I made a post about this like pretty cryptically, but when you're a cynic, you always set limitations and negative reasons why, and there's no light down there, shoot. So I guess I'm gonna be 1.5. But it's not that, as someone for me who needs to work on goals and goal setting, a cynic sets limits. But I'm not so much a nihilist that I'll see those limits and just not do anything. I'll see those limits and hope that I or someone else can surpass those limits and bring me back to something that I didn't know was there. It's weird to say bring me back to something that wasn't there, but when I say bring me back, it's like in my heart, in my mind, I always knew it was there. And I could have done it whenever I wanted to, but I didn't. So if I can soon, later, now, or someone helps me, or someone does it, then I'll be more elated towards it. And that's why I think just finding limits and surpassing them just shows growth. I never was really good at following direction because I didn't know what the end goal was. And then when I finally looked at it this way, I take my negative thinking and spin it around to something that I can tangibly work with. It worked out for me, It's like, oh, I need to find a job and work. I'm like, oh, I'm not qualified for anything. Suppress it, get the resources, figure stuff out, and learn. You can. Like, I'm in a field of work that I love, and at the same time, I'm going to surpass when I leave it and use those experiences that I've gotten from it, and everything worked out. At least for most of everything, It's like, oh yeah, I told somebody that, oh, they don't do this and this. And surprisingly enough, people believe everything I say. And yeah, I'm sincere and honest, but that doesn't mean you have to follow what I say. I follow what I say to a degree. And then I lie to myself too, just as much. That I want to overcome and defeat all these stupid things that plague my mind and plague my want to do things. And sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. But I like to think that cynicism is not just the end of it all. That to expound upon it, it's really just kind of knowing your limits and not over extending yourself in what you can and can't do. And yeah, you never know until you try, for sure, but I've tried way too many times in my life and got nowhere without a tangible idea of what I need to overcome. And I guess that's a cynic's creed where, you already know all the negatives. So make the most of knowing all the negatives and avoid them. Hell, if you know all the obstacles, you can overcome them. You're not going to be sidelined by like something like, a cost or like a time constraint or a lack of talent. You'll know that ahead of time and then get all that stuff prepared. Call that good planning. In a sense, good planning is still cynicism because it's, realism. Realism and cynicism kind of go hand in hand. Like, people say they're realists, but no, they're cynics too. If they're real about something and they know it's not possible, like, yeah, a good realist will make do and figure things out, and a bad one is just a cynic. And sometimes I'm a bad one, so But I'm not always a bad one. I like to think one day everything will be fine. Everything. And I say everything is fine now, but not everything. Like, once I get that wash of complete and utter everything in my life is settled, then it'll be good. I never get to say goodnight to anybody anymore. Well, I mean, I kind of just did, but in the context of wishing you well. You know, I say it as a kind of greeting. I mean, that's, I guess, technically, but in my head, I don't get to say goodnight. And I guess mean it the way I want to. You know, you say it as a formality, or you say it like, you know, as a send-off. I want to say it like it means something to me. Like everything I say. Can't do it. I can't do it. Maybe it's just because I don't have the connection, the human connection, talking to myself like this. I'm talking to an audience. I'm always talking to an audience. I myself am an audience, no matter what. I may not have anyone watch my videos, but there's always going to be an audience. And I wanted to send off like a good night. I feel so hollow. One day. An experiment. How much I can put up with it. So, I think I did a pretty good job. There's a lot of pauses and a lot of wasted time. But this is me. A lot of pauses and a lot of wasted time. Quite personified, if I say so myself.